You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa, ladies and gentlemen, Comic Crusaders, novel nerds, sci-fi samurais, and future Netflix binge watchers in the making. Today, we are leveling up, baby, because we have a multi-award winning, international best-selling powerhouse in the building. That's right. He's a dreamer who didn't just write stories, he engineered worlds from pen and paper to pixel and keyboards. You heard? I mean, this creator has built empires across novels, comics, and screenplays. Over 18 projects deep. I mean, ideas so strong that they refuse to stay in one medium. And today we're going to be diving into his latest epic. And I hope I'm saying this right. He'll correct me when he's on. Yasuke, the legend, the myth, the African samurai who shattered expectations in feudal Japan. It's history meets honor, culture meets combat, legacy meets destiny. Let's welcome my brother, the one, the only, the amazing Braxton Cosby. How are you, brother?
It's great, man. Thanks for having me back on. Energy is always amazing. We're going to have a good time.
Oh, we're definitely going to have a good time because you keep doing your thing, man. And you came through with a double whammy, a duology. You are not playing. You stay busy, brother. I love to see that. So for those just unfamiliar, Braxton, just for those not in the know, and shame on them, Braxton, take us back just a bit. Before the awards, the accolades, before the 18 plus books, right? Who were you as a kid dreaming about storytelling?
Oh man, I was just a little kid trying to just figure out what I wanted to do with life, trying to find my own path, figure things. What was I going to get into? I was really into sports. I really loved sports back in the day. Played football, basketball, ran track, the whole nine. And eventually, I just kind of trickled upon this writing career after I got out of college. And it was just one day I was chilling in church, and the pastor was like, he felt like God was talking to some people, wanted them to maybe do something they had never done before. But nobody was asking. So I just started praying, and right there, I just heard this voice say, write a book. And I was like, man, like about what? I wasn't even really into reading back then. Going through school, being told to read certain stories that I didn't really relate to, the people and the characters in the story. I wasn't feeling it, so I wasn't attracted to reading. And when it came down to trying to write something, I was in school, man. I'm talking about like, undergrad, master's, doctorate program. I was doing all that. I didn't have time to read casually. So when this idea came to me, I was like, write about what, And I don't know about you, but, I look at a lot of TV and films and stuff like that. And sometimes I'll be looking at something and it'd be like really, really nice. And then at the end, I'll be like, man, it was cool, but I wish they had kind of gone this way with it or that way, where they should have tried. I thought they were going on this path. They changed.
Yeah. But they kill a character too soon, like a certain villain. They were too cool. Like you did that shit too fast.
Right, exactly. So I was like, God was like, why don't you just take all that cool stuff that you really wish was in a film and then put it in your own story? And I was like, okay, I can get with that. So that's how I started. I wrote the trilogy, Star-Crossed Saga, got that published, won a couple of awards for that. And then after that, I haven't looked back. This is actually book 21 for me and comic number 6 for me.
Wepa! Jeez, bro. Look at you. Numero 21. Wow, but and the last time we did speak, you were on Star-Crossed. Like, wow, you have fucking not put that pen down, my brother.
No, it goes down, and my mind is always like thinking of the next story, So I had to kind of streamline stuff lately. Like, man, if I go to these cons and these speaking events and stuff, how do I tell people everything I got in one place? So I came up with this new banner. It's like the Mount Rushmore of Braxton Cosby as an author. I got the one on the banner. I got images. One is for the Cape. The next is for the Red Gemini Chronicles, which is like Star-Crossed Saga and Steel Rain. I got Broken, which is obviously Keisha's story with the dystopian fiction, the zombies and all that, with the graphic novel, the comic. And now I can add Yasuke to it with the duology, which is the historical fiction novel and the graphic novel.
All right. So you've crossed that novels, comics you mentioned, screenplays. Was that intentional empire building or with creative restlessness?
I started off as a novelist, so I was kind of just trying to master that. And then I just slowly crept into, hey man, I did take one of my stories, Protostar, and turn it into a screenplay, adapted into a screenplay. And I took like writing intensives, joined groups down here in Atlanta with the writers' room and stuff like that. And then ended up getting some recognition for the script, where it made like a quarterfinalist. I was like, okay, I think I'm in the right place. And so I just kept pushing and pushing with story. And then eventually I read a couple of books that were like amazing. Snyder's Save the Cat and Robert McKee's Story. And I just fell in love with stories. So now, like when I'm looking at shows and films, I don't just see that. I see the script. So I'm like, okay, they're hitting these points, where we're going to fall off at. And when stories do really good with a fantastic pilot, or if a film does really well in the first 20 minutes and grabs me and makes me ask the questions that they're slowly spoon feeding me, I know that the writers did their work. That's the stuff I'm into, and that's the way I want to write as well.
Oh, fantastic! There we go. But when did you realize, though, really now that because again, you said you didn't want to do this. You
Right.
rolled in. Was there a moment when you said, "Oh shit, this is the passion now. This is I want to keep this." Was there?
Yeah.
Did it hit you? Was there a moment that hit you that you said, "Shit, I love this now"?
Yeah. Well, I think what it really happened to me was I was always just questioning, should I really be doing it? You know what I mean? And then so I got awards early on that kind of helped validate my decision. So I was like, okay, people like it, so I must be in the right place. So I just kept doing it, and eventually started Cosby Productions after I had been published by two traditional publishers. Just decided to do it myself because I was like, and they're not really doing any more than what I could do. And then I started really like the process of bringing other authors in was like, what do you have? Let me read, your synopsis in your first three chapters and kind of helping them along, getting their publishing journey going. And I just fell in love with story. It's like I tell you, after the awards went by, like stories just kept coming to my head. And I got like folders on my computer, just like, here's an idea. Boom, I'll put that one over here. Here's an idea. So they just keep flowing. And I'm just in love with story now, man. Like I just want a good story. I want to write a good story. And my challenge to myself always has been my next story that I write. I want it to be my next favorite book because of all the stuff that you create, you want to just keep getting better, right? And I feel that if you love what you do and what you put together, then other people are gonna love it too. And I get that advice to people who come to my tables, and when I do some of the little conventions and do the speaking stuff, and people ask me, what's the best advice to you? I said honestly, the best advice I can give you is write what you love first, and then you'll be able to talk about it. People will see the passion, and then they don't mind coming alongside you and picking up what you got.
Yeah, it's true, man. The convention energy is great. You start seeing that love. You start seeing that boost. Asking those questions.
Yeah.
Don't you love it, man? When people just connect, man. That connection is important. Um, so let's talk now. This baby here, Yasuke. Right? Tell me I said it right. Did I?
It sounds good to me, brother. Everybody everybody says a different way. I'm not Japanese, so I don't know how it's supposed to go. I was on somebody's show like a week ago, and I could tell she was of Asian descent, but she always just put the image up on the screen. And the
Yeah.
way she pronounced it, I was like, yeah, she gotta be Asian. She's probably saying it right. And I'm
Yeah.
jacking
Most
it
like
up.
Yasuke.
It was like a one syllable, like Yasuke. I'm like, okay, that's probably it.
Yasuke, I will respect that. So let's talk Yasuke.
Yeah,
Now, what pulled you toward this particular historical figure? Because again, you talk Starcross and other things,
right.
different platforms, and now it's like, yo, my man going history now.
Yeah. it was crazy. I when I go to conventions, I'm always looking at what other authors do at their tables, and I go to a lot of specifically. I try to go to more book conventions now because obviously people who come like books. And so I'll walk around and look at people's tables and see what kind of stuff they got, just to kind of see what's out there. And this one guy has written this story. I don't remember the name of the book, but the cover was really interesting. I was like, "Oh, so what kind of book is this?" He's like, "It's historical fiction." I'm like, "Just tell me a little bit about that." So he kind of went into his story. He told me it was like a war story or whatever. I was like, "That's a cool idea." Kind of went ahead and bookmarked that in my mind. And then fast forward to 25, I'm like, just doing what everybody does, surf the internet, looking at stuff or whatever. And I saw this image of this black man in samurai armor, and I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. That's probably some AI thing. And I just kept it moving.
You said
Scrolled
AI.
a little bit again a few more days later, and then I saw it again, but this time he had a woman and a little child with him, like an Asian woman and a little child. I'm like, hold on, what's going on here? Same guy. So I started doing the research, stumbled upon Yasuke, found out the guy was a real character, and he's a one of one. I was like, hold up, this is like cool. So the more I researched him, the more questions I had, which didn't have answers. And in my mind, I'm like, this is where this is a perfect match. You got all this historical referencing of the time, the period he was in, who he served with, and all this stuff, all these great wars going on. He served in, but there's no details. So now I can come in with the fictional prose that kind of brings all these pieces together. I kind of explain to people all the research I did was like the bricks, and the fictional prose is the mortar that kind of just builds this beautiful wall, this wonderful mural that celebrates this amazing, iconic historical figure that a lot of people know about.
That's so crazy, right? Because we would have thought, like, I wouldn't expect to see that. I mean, I can't imagine seeing a Puerto Rican someone, right? For example, say, like, huh, what?
Right.
Maybe I could, because they have chanclas, right? you know, yeah, man. Listen, man. It may be a stereotype, but I got my slides right there on the
Right.
side.
Right.
Hey, man, we all love our chanclas. Leave me alone. All right.
It.
All right, but tell me, right? Yeah, Yasuke represents identity, resilience, and power. What does he mean to you, though, personally?
Man, he honestly was a throwback to my upbringing as a kid. In Miami, I remember Sunday night was reserved at 7 o'clock for a show called Samurai Sunday, and it was on like one of these little, it was like a UPN or something like that. They'll be going to this off cable network channels, and they would just honestly only show like Asian movies that had all this fighting in it. Where the guys would get punched like 50 times, and then they'll spit up just a little bit of blood, and they still won't be dead. And you got to stab them like 5 times, and they like I looked at that stuff, and I used to love it, man. And so to me, it's a throwback to that time period for me. And then it also just, as I dove into his story and found out so much about him, and I wrote so much about him, it almost became like some family to me. It felt like family. I felt like I had to protect Yusuke's story. I didn't want it to go off the rails. I didn't want it to be some of the typical, stereotypical stuff that you would expect with this man who was a slave. I made him very intelligent. He had intellect. He learned the Japanese culture and the language because it's a fish out of water story. So I just built all these things. I really made sure I took care of the story enough that people who read it, they're going to have a hard time really disseminating between what's real and what's fiction. And on top of that, you have a really stand-up guy who ultimately was just driven by one thing, and that was getting back to his family as he was separated from as he was a slave. So to me, it was just like preservation and restoration with this amazing story to celebrate this historical figure that, like I said, he's really a lot of anonymity behind him. But I wanted to make him really, really cool, and I wanted to pay some respect to that.
Yeah, I mean, look how cool he looks. Yeah, bro. Yo, who did the artwork on this? Cause that is so
Yeah,
fun.
I got this guy, man, who does all my artwork, my 3D graphic artist, and he did this one. He did Broken with Keisa on the cover. He did Still Rain with Still Rain on the cover. He did our Infinity 7 images for our superhero fiction stories, books 1 and 2. with Blur on the cover, and then all the guys when we put Menzuo and we put the enemy Stratus on there. Like all of that stuff is just banging. So I go back to him over and over again when I'm looking for just an amazing cover, and he killed this man. He put the samurais in the back too, and it was just he came out perfectly.
Yeah, this looks murderous, bro. I mean, yeah, I don't want to mess with homie coming at me like that. Oh, come on, man. That's hey, yo, please, but all right, I only have on my chat there. That's it. That's what about to bust my ass right now, you know?
Right. And the swords, there was so much rich history in here. Like even the swords, the katana blades that when Nobunaga, because Nobunaga was the lord that he served under, back in the day they had the emperor, then they had the shogun, then they had the lords in the land, and Lord Nobunaga's main goal was to try to unify Japan, like make them one big powerhouse. And he was slowly doing that by taking over some of these side factions and people who challenged him. But he was an amazing strategist. He was one of the first people in Japan to actually use guns. Most everybody fought with like
Oh,
swords.
really?
Yeah, he instituted bringing in swords, and he was a master military technician. So he saw Yasuke as really as an opportunity to maybe even like be mysterious and to make some of his enemies fear him. Like, where do you get this guy, 6'5" in Japan, big old black man? Nobody knows him.
This
And
whole
so
fucking samurai scary
that's
looking
what he
shit. I'm
did.
telling you.
That's what he did. So it's like you tell me you got a lot, you got more of these guys in the cut, 6'5"
Yeah.
samurais. And so I think it just the whole story itself, when I was building around these two guys kind of being like an odd couple coming together, Nobunaga's story just stood out to me on its own because he had all these wars and things he was doing, and then Yasuke just slid in. And I wanted to make that very organic on how he got there. I didn't want to just be, hey, I like him, he's big, fight for me. That does
Yeah.
not happen. Yasugi goes through the traditional hero story where he comes from a slave of the Sudan. I mean, he comes from the Sudan as a slave, enters the service of Nobunaga, and eventually works his way to this position. So it was a great story for me to craft because I had a whole ton of fun. I had all the big pieces, like the skeleton was there of all of it. Now I just had to kind of connect it and make it compelling. And so I was grateful that I was able to put it all together and bring it together the way it was.
Wonderful. And folks, if you guys are interested, you know what we be doing over here at Comic. You see that QR code? Right now, if you snap that QR code, it's take you straight to that cover right here. This book, you go in, you can listen with the tax returns on their way. Don't be crying broke as all, So support making it rain and support our amazing independent creators out there. And look, I'm a historical fiction right here. You know you want this. I mean, it's fire. This is not just the only thing you're gonna be spending money on. All right, because he also has a different Yasuke project, right?
Right.
Let me. And I just changed the QR code. Right, you go snap it because it's that one right. Oh, look at this madness! Diablo, what's going on here, brother? What is this?
Yeah. So at the end of Yasuki's lifetime that we know of, it only existed. It coexisted with Lord Nobunaga, and as his reign came to an end, Yasuki just literally disappeared, and nobody knew where he went or what happened to him. There were a lot of speculation on what happened to him based on some of the other cast of characters throughout the story. But I just when I got through writing, I wasn't done. I wanted to do something else. I'm like, man, I really kind of want to stick with the hybrid publishing model that we have as Cosby Productions and Star Child Comics, where we do our stories in both novels and comics. I wanted to keep that going, but I knew that the comic wasn't going to be enough for the story I wanted to tell. So we came up with this bad boy right here, Resurrection, which is a graphic novel. And it gave me a chance to say, like, a what if after Yasuki left, what if this happened? And basically, I put him in this
Ooh.
fantasy world with this huge fantasy thing that you see, and again, tribute to the manga now of Asian culture, where we've got this huge sword, we've got a big character that he fights in here, and we've got this nice new supporting cast that comes along that is actually helping him get through the world of elsewhere. So it was just crazy. It was bananas. I had a ton of fun writing it, and still was able to follow 3-act structure with the storyline and keeping this thing bumping along. So people have been enjoying it, and that's all I could really ask at this point. But I talk about fantasy, talk about action, and talk about a riveting story. This graphic novel has it all.
I think it was there anything that challenged you, in creating the story?
Yeah, I mean, again, my thing is, I think sometimes most writers can get lost in the sauce of having a comic book. They go, "Oh, it's a comic book. I'm just gonna put a whole bunch of pretty images in here, and then just kind of tell you a story real quick," but they don't really complete it. I'm very very detailed. So as much as I put into my novels and my screenwriting stories when I do my script, I put back into my comic books too. So you're going to get a three act structured story that's going to follow that hero from beginning to end, even if it's open ended, even if it's part of a 6 book or 5 book comic issue series. It'll be open ended, but you're still going to get to an ending. So you're going to see some resolution with those characters. So the challenge of knowing that I kind of end it, but still leave it a little bit open just in case I wanted to explore more worlds with Yasuke based on what the feedback was. It was a challenge to make sure that I had those similar beats of the story progression and things didn't feel old because I didn't want to
Mm.
keep beating a dead horse with what we put Yasuki through in the historical fiction. I wanted it to feel fresh, and that's why I brought the other characters in and the new antagonist. And this story, even though it's a duology, there is a connected comic book called Blood Moons, the Yasuki story, because the character that he fights in the graphic novel, his name is Chiwa, and he's this evil deity. His origin story is kind of teased early on in the historical fiction novel, and left it alone. But the comic is actually his origin story. So if people want to get the complete mythology, so to say, behind this new Yusuke IP, they basically can pick up the novel, the comic, and the graphic novel to get the entire thing. But even though it's based just really on the duology.
Oh, but there we go. Now, I have to ask here because we all know that samurai culture is steeped in discipline and honor.
Yes,
Did writing the project demand discipline from you?
as always, all of my projects, man. You know how many plates I'm juggling. Without discipline, I'd be still writing my first book. Yeah.
So,
So
what's the sauce, man? How do you dig in then? What's your secret sauce to dig in and get it done?
all I can tell you is, you know how it is, man. The things you are passionate about, you're going to do. It's never gonna feel like work. It's never gonna feel like some obligation. You just gonna knock it out. And once I get my outline set for my story, I'm gonna rubbing my hands, getting ready to get back in. Like I can't get back, wait to get back home, work on another chapter. If it's a graphic novel, I can't wait to put out another 5 pages and give it to the artist to do her thing. So it's just something that drives me. I'm already working on the next story for next year in my head. You know what I'm saying? I am currently co-writing on a comic series with Kaio Champion ANVK, which is the African Ninja Vampire Killers. We're working on issue 2 now,
Word.
and so when issues 2 and 3 are written, diving back in to the original. Like I said, that Mount Rushmore is just gonna keep getting heavier and heavier because there's more stories to be told in all those worlds.
Yeah, man, my man building up universes. I dig it. This is what we need, baby. This is comics. And again, folks, that QR code, don't be playing with me. That's the graphic novel right here, right above me now. So go ahead, snap away. I'm gonna swap in a little bit to the graphic novel as well. So that way, if you guys missed it, you go ahead and go for that. All right. So, all right. So you written now, over 20 works, 21, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
where does Yasuke rank in terms of personal importance to you?
That's good. It's the first time, like, of course, I've celebrated Black history with fictional characters. It was the first time that I actually a took that lane to do historical fiction per se. I've done biographies on characters with the My Life and Story series. I did Gail Deaver's story. I did Mike Clemens' story, and I did Christian Alexio, who was the first Black NASCAR driver. So I've written those stories, but that was closely with them. It was a autobiography. I basically get their life together, and we kind of put it together with a little bit of fictional prose. But this was such a heavy research based book with historical fiction, where literally um, I was tasked with getting all this information and then making sense of it on a timeline. So as people read the historical fiction book, they'll see these timestamps come up, seasons, times. I basically had to look at the geography of feudal Japan at the time. I had to look at the compound where Nobunaga was housed, where he had all his people who served under him. I had to look at the commerce, what kind of, how did they make their money? What did they trade? What did they do? I had to kind of jump into everything to really, really get a full understanding of what the expectation was as far as building this world out. And I wanted the world itself to be a character. So that's why I was living and breathing. I wanted to know the factions that lived there. I wanted to know the religion. I wanted to know everything, the weather systems, the whole 9 yards. And that world lives and breathes and beautiful sunsets, sunrises, weathers, and whole nine. So all of that, just keeping that all in play. And as I'm writing it, I got like pages, like Word documents over here with all the facts, and I'm writing them like, oh, right here, I need to go ahead. Let me see. Oh, right here, I'll take this, and I got to drop this in here to make this world continue to breathe and make it organic. So everything just kind of flowed naturally.
Excellent. A big shout out to my big homies, Entre Coleccionistas, that I met at Toy Fair. Big shout out. A cool collectibles Latin language, show. So like, all right, that's cool. I don't get to see that too often, from in my side of the world, So a shout out. Thank you for checking that out, checking me out a bit over here. All right. So, was there anything that surprised you though during your research of Yasuke?
Yeah, a couple of things. Like I did some original ceremonies that I was able to research in Japanese culture of what they did. Like Lord Nobunaga gave Yasuki his name. Obviously, you see it's Japanese, but really you kind of have to connect the dots because I thought he came. I'm like, well, oh, he didn't. This name, he didn't have this name. So I
Yeah.
had to come up with a name. I had to come up. I did some Sudanese research and brought out and narrowed it down to a couple of options of what I felt the character was. So I gave him a name based off of that. And so some of the ceremonies were like really, really cool. And I went and put those in as authentically as possible when he gave him his name. When Lord Nobunaga was killing the other lords in the land, he would take the main katana of the leader, and then he actually did hand one of those down to Yasuke. This is real historical stuff. So it was really, really cool. Along with him having these other generals, he was entrusting Yasuke with carrying the mantle of being like honestly his right hand man. So a lot of that stuff just surprised me. So I made sure I put that in the story, and you can even see him holding that big katana sword on the cover of the book. So if people do the research and go back after they read the book, they're gonna see like, oh man, that stuff really existed. This is pretty cool.
It sounds crazy to me. Sound like Highlanders. Like he would take the leader's swords. Yeah. Like I have the power now. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's why let me. I'm sunning you right now, taking your sword. You out of here. I love it. Now, like, what advice would Yasuki give young creators facing adversity today, if he existed, based on your version of Yasuki?
Man, I mean, he went through so much to try to get back to his family. I just think that perseverance, man, it's at a loss nowadays, man. Like kids just get so discouraged. One thing happened, they're done. I'm not doing this anymore. And I think about like when I was a
True.
kid, like the stuff that, like, man, you had to literally run me over with a car to make me stop. You know what I mean?
Right.
And these kids just tap out now. Like they have these expectations that if I just do 5 minutes of work, then I should get these amazing results. And I'm telling them all the time, like, nah, that's not how this works. I coach track and field at one of my kids' high schools. And like, the kids who stick with the plan, they see the results. And it's these other ones that just kind of tap out because oh, it's been a couple of weeks and I didn't run better. And I'm like, you're tapping out already and you don't have to, but this stuff does come with dedication. So the lessons that are learned are great. And I think that that's something Yusuke would probably want all of us to revel in is that like, hey man, at any one time during the story, he could have tapped out and decided to do something else, but he kept pressing forward. And so he just had this hope that all of his efforts were not going to be in vain. And I think that's how most people need to run it.
Yo, 100. Now, I want to ask you something, right? Because again, you say you love being creative, right? How do
Yeah.
you avoid kind of repeating yourself creatively? Like, do you ever get scared you're gonna run out of ideas?
So yes and no. For me, I'm always just trying to find a new, fresh idea.
Okay.
I know Hollywood has a phrase when you like when you're doing scripts, they say they want same but different. So everybody says there's no new stories under the sun. There's just different tropes and everything. It is what it is. And so, but you have to take that and now say, here's what I'll do with that. And so when people look at my catalog of books and really my series, they'll see there's a wide gamut. Like I'm not just known for one thing, and that's what I kind of celebrate myself on. Is that
Right.
I never believe in just doing one thing. I know some people are just known as the sci-fi author or the fantasy author or the whatever. I just want to tell stories. I want to tell good stories, and if you like them, you can come along and I can give you a synopsis on what it is. If you're interested in the series, I can tell you what it is, and I guarantee it's going to be totally different from anything else in my catalog. And so I pride myself on being that, like just kind of being this modern day Renaissance man, where I got a bag of tricks, and I'm just gonna keep pulling them out. And if you're into reading, I think you'll find something that's gonna entertain you in the catalog that I have.
Excellent, excellent. The two pieces of the catalog we're talking today about, folks, is this baby right there. I just flipped the QR code. That's the novel right here. How many pages is this bad boy right here?
That's 275.
Nice. Look at that. A nice little great read with
Mm,
that tax return money. There you go. You spend that on something that doesn't need batteries. You know what I
right.
mean? Because you got a nice book in your hands. But although you do have it in PDF, I would suppose. Yes, no.
Yeah, it's an ebook, so you can pick it up
Okay.
on the Nook on Barnes and Noble, or you can pick it up on the Kindle on Amazon.
And there we go. And then of course we got this baby right there, the graphic novels. Oh snap! Oh, we're talking Spanish, but it's like, what is going on here? Yeah, but he definitely likes what he's seeing right now. Is basically what he's saying. But and
Okay.
also, so folks, if you want it right there, hit that QR code. Check out the graphic novel. How many pages is this graphic novel?
It's over 75.
Ooh, over 75 pages of comic book goodness, baby. I love it. And,
Yes.
and how much fun have you worked with these same people you worked with prior here? Excellent. So
So
team, same team members.
that's
Mhm.
Eliza Olamide. We have about six different animation teams that work with us to start out comics. Who've done our comics. We've released over 15 now, and Eliza worked on. She did Blood Moon for me. She also did AMBK, which when she first caught my attention with doing AMBK because I loved her animation in that. And then I just said, hey, I think her style just naturally fit the imagery that we wanted to use for Yasuke. So when I saw this cover, man, I almost fell out my chair, because she caught everything I
Yeah,
wanted it to be.
it's fiery. It reminds me of old school anime video covers.
Yes.
It captures me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I definitely will pick this up off the shelf. Like, yo, what's popping here? It's
Yeah.
catchy. It's catchy. I dig it. I dig it, sir. Now, uh, what does representation mean though in a story like Yasuke?
Oh
Because
man,
we just got past, Black History Month. I mean, but it should be all people History Month all the time. Let's learn about each other and more. Man, I love this with somebody. I never knew about this. I'm definitely going to be digging a lot more into this. Again, 6'5" samurai is scaring me, bro.
woo, yeah.
So talk to me. How does the representation matter
It
here?
it was great, man. I put together such an effort to get this book. I don't know if you caught up. Did you ever see Shogun on Hulu? I guess it
No,
was
no.
FX. It was FX. So old school Shogun was back in the day, and they had they brought it back out again and reinvented it for the limited series on
Okay.
Hulu, and I thought it was great. Like those episodes, the pacing was kind of slow. It was like a slow burn. Again, I'm more into the story now, and then every now and then they have these big moments. Whether it was an earthquake, whether it was a fight, whether it was assassination, whatever. They just kind of spilled them through there, and that pacing I thought was so perfect. So I wanted to nail that very similar vibe in the way that I told the story of Jisuke, especially because it was feudal Japan. But a lot of similarities. So I put such an effort into doing that, and then working with Eliza. on bringing the graphic novel alive. So I was literally working on two stories, which was crazy. I don't. This is book 21, so I can play around and lose my mind a little bit, but I don't suggest that to a lot of people. But I was kind of working with that, writing that, so I didn't lose things. I didn't want to lose the details and have something sit and then come back to it. So I wanted to kind of knock them out at the same time and then release them same time in February for Black History Month. So it was a huge undertaking. And we got that thing knocked out in December. Everything was clean. It was finished. And I got them produced. Used shout out to Comic Wellspring for the print jobs they do on all our stuff. And so I was able to get all that done and drop this thing in February for Black History Month. And it was just, there was such a feeling of pride because I feel like I pulled one of our characters from the past into the present and made him cool. And a lot of people have been feeling it, got a lot of great reviews. Literary Titan gave it a book of the month.
Nice.
Gold Medal Award winner said it was very engaging. Even Kirkus Review gave it the Get It accolade and called it engaging historical fiction. Reader's Favorite gave it 5 stars as well. So we've gotten some good feedback on the book, and people have just been eating it up, man. I mean, I was at Barnes Noble about a weekend ago, and they told me it was the number one at that book signing. I was there for only 3 hours, but it was the number one seller for the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, but people would see it. People see this beautiful sign when they come up to me, and they're like, "Oh, what's that about?" And they're just attracted to the cover, and I just start talking about the story, and they're like, "Put me down," you know. So I just love it. I can't wait to get to the conventions and really start spilling the beans and the tea on this fantastic story.
Really? So start spilling the tea on what conventions you're gonna be here. Anything soon? I mean, because again, the season is starting, brother.
This month we're getting it going. You know, I used February as an opportunity to do some book signings. So I went to Liberty Bookstore. Shout out to Linda over there. Like I said, I went to Barnes and Noble. Shout out to Melissa and her crew for hosting us and being so gracious. But now we're on the road, brother. We going to March 14th. We will be at Huntsville Comic Con down in Alabama. In April, we'll be taking it on the road to Greenville, South Carolina for South Carolina Comic Con. In May, we'll be back down here being hosted by Liberty Books for First Comic Saturday, which is going to be in May. And, you know, that's always crazy. We'll have all of the comics and stuff we have. In June, we'll be hitting the road again back to Charlotte, North Carolina for Heroes Con. Love Heroes Con. Always show us a lot of love in North Carolina. And then we'll be rounding it out for July. This is just the first half of the year. We'll be heading back to Knoxville, Tennessee for Fanboy. Haven't been in Tennessee for a minute, a couple of years. We took a couple of years off from Tennessee, but we are back and we're excited because Tennessee always shows us love.
Nice. I gotta check out some of those shows, especially Heroes Con is one I really want to go to. And Dragon Con is another one I really want to go to.
Yep.
You know, but I haven't done the other ones. You know, the South Carolina comic. I gotta check out. I mean, I'm on the East Coast, man. I gotta check it out, man.
Yeah. South Carolina Comic Con, real nice. And I think you know about the one in Baltimore too, right?
Oh yeah, Baltimore, absolutely. BlurCon is this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're gonna do. And my boy just hit me up today and said, "Al, how do you want to take a ride to DC this weekend?" I'm like, "Geez, you gotta tell me now." Like, geez, God, there's no plan in here.
Yeah.
And ZZ Bass is gonna be there. God, you know, God bless her. Have you seen the poster to a new horror movie? My God.
Yeah, I think I saw a teaser trailer. I haven't seen the whole thing yet.
Yeah, man, she's gonna be there, and they're talking about opportunity. Like, oh man, yeah, if I could get a shot to talk to her, maybe I'll go. Now, not in a pimp way, just as movies, all right?
Right.
Come on, people. I'm a gentleman. Now, you have, you know, you were talking about a catalog, and you have built a legacy catalog. Like, what's the long-term vision though for you know the Braxton Cosby label and brand? Like, are we gonna be building a whole new universe really, and just blow up? And you know, what are we doing? We're taking over the world.
Man, my overall, if I had a dream of it, of course, I just want to honestly just continue to build up what I have. But if I could just take these things and just have them land at a house, some publishing house, as far as like a movie studio, somebody who I know is going to take care of it and actually keep it as authentic and genuine as I created it, that would be great, man. I see Like Broken could be an amazing series. I might do a limited series on like a Yasuke, something like that. I could see the Star-Crossed Saga just being in film and movies, and of course the Cape would just be awesome as a series, and have some movies as well and some animation come out of all that superhero stuff. So yeah, I definitely have a vision for all of that, but at this point in time, I'm just taking my time, continuing to curate and build the stories out to the best of my ability, so that when they say when you stay ready, so you never have to get ready. So I just want the stories to be ready. So if everybody does come along, it's like, damn, what you got? I'm like, what you need, I got you. Kind of a thing.
Absolutely, my man has that trench coat. What genre you want? What you need? What you need? I got them all. I got them all.
right, absolutely.
That's the way you gotta be. All right, so this is it right here. This is it. When readers close the final page of Yasuke, what feeling do you want lingering in their chest?
I want them to say like, wow, what a ride. And is there anything else?
Ooh, you want wanting more. He's throwing all that stuff in there. He's gonna get you so hooked that you're gonna just drive him crazy. That everything's gonna be Yasuke. Come on, and then I have a question now. I lied. That wasn't the final. I'm gonna have a fun one. This is the battle question. Who will win? Yasuke versus what's his name? Afro Samurai.
Woo! I mean, Afro
Samurai, bro.
He's the OG. So I mean, I would like to think that Yasuke would win, but I probably got to give it to Afro Samurai.
Yeah, man, we need more Afro Samurai. That Black Dynamite cartoon. Give me all that shit. Why don't they do good stuff? You know what I mean? Boondog. Like, hey man, come on.
Yeah.
Folks, wake up. That's the stuff you want to watch. At least they're going to do a G.I. Joe Transformers adult cartoon, apparently.
Right.
So maybe we'll get something adult. But you know what I really want to see? Yasuke on the screen.
Come on, man.
We got to make that happen. All right? So, Braxton, thank you for hanging out with me, letting our Crusaders know about this wonderful character. Folks, again, you got the QR code right there for Dead Man Walking. That's the QR code for Resurrection. I will put the links in the notes. Don't you worry. So you go to Braxton's website, and scoop them. You got that tax money coming, so don't be lying on me, all right? Because right here,
if you get them from the site, brother, all gonna be signed copies.
Ooh, signed copies. You heard? All right. So Braxton A. Cosby is proof, man, that dreams aren't fragile; they're forgeable. You heard? Your hammer sharp. You hammer them. You sharpen them, and then you honor them like a samurai blade. Because if you believe in stories that challenge the norm, if you believe in history told through powerful new lenses, if you believe creators should dream bigger, then go grab Yasuke today. Support the movements. Share this episode. Tag a friend. Let them know that they need to level up and check out Braxton's book right here today. You heard? So this is Comic Crusaders, where we celebrate awesome creators that don't just tell stories, they build legacy. And with that, hasta la próxima, mi gente, you know what it is. Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.